Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslock talking about reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I am trying to build. The E is spelled with a 3. And in this particular video, I'm going to show you the results of doing a 90-day YouTube video marketing challenge. So this all started when I watched a video. It popped up on my recommended YouTube watch videos. It was from Miles Beckler. This guy, he's a marketer. Seems like a decent fellow, and he was putting up that he put up a 90-day challenge, and I followed along and watched to see what he was doing, and he had pretty good results with what he was doing. So I decided to copy that and see what was going to happen. I was originally doing YouTube videos. I was doing them every probably at the beginning, I was doing them maybe one video every week, where I was kind of just doing little things and I wasn't putting a lot of effort into it. Then a little ways down the road, probably about 4 months down the road, I started doing things every probably 3 days. I started putting out videos. Then finally, I saw that video pop up in front of me from Miles Beckler. And then I was like, well, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try the everyday thing and what happens. I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm trying to get the word out there, and YouTube is a wonderful way to get the word out there because it shows that I'm just a total normal person. I'm not this kind of scary person doing sort of, manipulation and all that kind of stuff. So I decided to do this. I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. I like to explore and try things. I do crazy things every once in a while just to see what would happen. Usually don't do them very long. This was a particularly long thing. And actually the really cool result that I learned through this wasn't necessarily the traffic that I received. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But it actually was a really good learning experience and helped me develop as a person and to help me develop my skills, my public speaking skills. One thing that I do, I'm a professor, but professors they don't speak on a day-to-day basis. We do a lot of research. In fact, that's what we're paid to do is research. It's not to do a lot of teaching. Most professors that are research professors, they don't do a lot of teaching, actually. I can probably name all of the students that I've taught over the years if you really wanted me to. It's just, we just don't, because we're focused on doing our research and getting things out. Part of the reason why I'm doing the Reciprocity Project, by the way, you can look at old videos and want to help out graduate students, as well as hopefully have some sort of really cool platform to eventually do research studies and stuff like that on it, of course, with your consent and institutional approval at my institution. So with that, I really wanted to get the word out here. I'm trying to do something that's novel and different, and I think it's very, very exciting. I think there's so much benefit to it. So I didn't know when I first created the website. I put it out there, and I was like, hey, this is cool, and crafted this idea. And then I realized, how do I get the word out there? I started paying for ads, really stinking expensive. I couldn't, I just couldn't afford paying for that all the time. It did work. But the other problem with that is that the traffic just disappears as soon as you don't pay for those ads. It's not necessarily, I don't mind paying for stuff as long as it's highly, highly effective and that there's going to be lasting results. But there was no lasting results with it. So I decided to try something differently. I started putting out YouTube videos. One of my friends suggested it, start doing some YouTube videos, putting some things out. And I was kind of like, willy-nilly doing that sort of stuff at the beginning. And then I picked up my pace. And when I picked up my pace, I started to enjoy the process. I started to realize that YouTube is a wonderful platform. It really is not a large commitment. I mean, it is a commitment, right? Do this every single day. It's a stinking hard commitment some days because there's all sorts of stuff that happens in your life. 90 days is a long time to do something. Most people are not going to be committed. I'm used to doing that. I'm a professor, and the research game is to be very committed for extremely long times with something like that. So I have this, there's sort of two things that happen. They're selected through graduate school to be comfortable with pain, as well as, it's just, you get used to it. You get trained to do things for a very, very long time. and you just get used to it, right? So it wasn't terribly difficult to do the 90-day challenge. There were days that were very, very difficult to get that done, but I still did it anyways. I was evacuated. I live in Florida. We were evacuated. We left town, so I had to do some videos at the hotel, and I left my laptop at home, so I had to do things on an iPhone. Just doing this every day. The other thing that I found, particularly as a professor, is I was really scared to think about what other people thought. And that's a really, really big thing, because there's a lot of sort of social approval or, all this other stuff that happens in being a professor. It just happens. People really pay attention to what you're doing, pay attention to your performance. And I was nervous about this in the sense that it's going to be a big waste of time. It does take a commitment. It does chew up, you're going to chew up at least a half an hour every day of whatever you're doing if you're going to do that, if you're going to do these videos. It really is at least a half an hour. But the really cool thing with that is that you start developing some skill to being able to teach a lot better. So I've been able to teach noticeably. I noticed my teaching, my public speaking skills have greatly improved. The other thing that's really cool that I started to realize is that I'm getting ideas out there, and the ideas, I think, eventually. So I've been doing a lot of research on what's called user innovation and free innovation, why people kind of tinker with things and they do things on their own for a related research project. But what I discovered is that just by tinkering, you getting the word out there and you continuously do that kind of stuff, that's the way that things grow, right? And, for example, if I want to recruit graduate students, if these videos start continuing to grow and they get more presence, it's going to be easier for me to recruit graduate students and do better research, right? So it's really cool to be able to do that. I'm trying to be as helpful as possible with graduate students, with anybody that's interested in research, anybody that's interested in writing. I'm really trying to help out people, and I think it's a great way to sort of, the more that you help people, the more benefits you're going to get eventually, right? So that's the whole idea with reciprocity. So enough about that. I really want to go into the lines and looking at, these are called time series, right? This is the stuff that's behind the scenes. This is the traffic that's happening. You could see, I want to show you one really interesting thing. This is 90 days from the past 90 days since I started the 90-day challenge. You can see that in general, the watch time is increasing over time. I'm going to show you something really cool. I want you to go over here and look at the average viewer duration. I was actually paying ads. I was advertising one particular video. It was a really short video. It was 30 seconds, 29 seconds or something like that. So the watch time on average of the videos were really, really low until I stopped it probably about what is that? That's about 20 days ago. I stopped doing the advertising. And what ended up happening is the videos, the average viewer length jumped up dramatically, right? So this was probably about, I think it was average about 40, somewhere a little around 40 seconds they were watching on average. So in general, most of the videos weren't getting a lot of views, or sometimes watching all the way through to the end, and then some were getting a tremendous, they're watching all the way through, because I usually do about 10 minutes of videos. Then, after I turned it off, the average view duration greatly increased with this, right? You can see it greatly increased. What's really cool, and you can see this is where I turned it off, right? So this is my views down here. You can see it's kind of like level, right? And then I stopped it. I don't really care. I'm putting these out just to get to get it out, get it done, right? To get all that stuff done, make sure that other people can see. So you can see it's pretty level. The views were pretty level. In fact, they went down. What did they go down by? I don't know. They went down 26% from the previous 90 days, but guess what? I was paying for stuff in the previous 90 days. I was paying a lot more, so I'm not necessarily all that worried about that. You can see, hey, I made $5. All right, I spent way more in ads. I'm going to tell you that at $5 a day. You are going to go broke by doing that. And eventually, maybe if it eventually makes some money, look at, I'm making 1 cent a day. All right, hey, good job, right? So I just wanted to show you that. That was a really cool experiment because I want you to note what I did right here, right? So I turned it off. I turned off advertising. All of a sudden, my average view duration dramatically increased. But I want to show you something really cool in 1 second. I want you to see what ended up happening. So this, actually, you know what? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Right, okay, yeah, so here's my average viewer duration. You can see it goes about the same all the way through. I turned it off a little bit here as well, but then I decided to turn it off altogether. The ads altogether, you can see greatly increased, right? Greatly increased. I just wanted to point that out. And at that point, so you can see this is the last 90 days. This is, I wanted to show you one of the traffic sources, right? So this is the Google search traffic that I think is cool. You can start seeing, and this is from all over the world, which is crazy. And you can start seeing what ended up happening is when I turned it off, all of a sudden Google search traffic started to dramatically increase. I'm getting way more views. And why is that, right? So there was like crickets right here. I could stretch it out so you could see the crickets even more. Okay, oh, this is this year, right? So basically crickets until roughly when I started turning it off and I started getting much more traffic. You can see it's exponential growth anyways, going along right here, right? Anyways, exponential growth, which is great. That's what I want to see, exponential growth. But you can see when I turned it off, which is right about here, it really started to take off. And why is that? Well, I believe that's the Google search algorithm. They look at how long people actually watch the videos, right? The longer they watch the videos, more that they're going to start promoting in YouTube, as well as Google search are going to start promoting your videos because they are worthwhile to watch, which is cool. So you're actually, I think I was actually hurting myself by advertising that video because it's really cutting into this search traffic, this Google search traffic. I can go here. I'm going to show you, another way to actually see this. I'm going to go to, you can see this is where I was paying at the beginning. That was total junk. That was garbage. It was one of those, you could promote your videos. Total garbage. That was, I think that's just like, it's kind of a money grab for Google. I'm assuming that's what I would do is have that, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to promote it and going to waste a bunch of money. You get a bunch of views, but yeah, you know what? Do anybody actually watch those? No, and yeah, just total waste of money. Okay, so if you go to Google search right here, and this is the search traffic, right? There's a couple, there's the video names or what people are searching for. I won't show you those very long. I don't want you to see all of that kind of stuff because it's private. All right, so I'm going to go here. And, dun, dun, dun. Okay, you can see what the, oh, there we go. I knew that. So I have a Nathan Fielder video that I put out. It gets a fair bit of traffic out there. It's kind of fun. And why is this? There we go. This is what I wanted to show you, right? So since the beginning of time, since the beginning of this year, you could see that the traffic actually starts increasing. And then right here, the Google search traffic dramatically starts increasing, gets much more consistent when I turn it off. And you can see in general, you get this, this nice exponential growth. That's what you want, right? Just exponential growth. Doesn't matter where it starts. Exponential growth is what you want. That's exactly what's going to happen because that grows really, really quick, really fast. And that's what you get, right? So eventually it starts growing. And I want to actually point out, so I'm going to close that now. I wanted to point out in the last video, I was talking about sort of predicting where my traffic was going to be. The last sort of update, 60 days in. It was a total disaster, right? It wasn't even close. I was predicting that I was going to grow so much faster and all that kind of stuff. It was total garbage. And that is a lesson to learn. And that's one thing that I do teach in my classes is about the fallacies of prediction. You can do all of this prediction stuff. And if you predict really far out in the future, far in this case is, a month, you're going to probably be pretty far off with what you're doing. You could do something pretty consistent, but there's so many assumptions along the way, it could be really, really far off. So this is, and that's why you should be very careful about making these predictions. All sorts of stuff can happen, right? Duh. So you can see here, this is my average watch time. This is really cool. You could see it is increasing over time. Now, some of that Sometimes I'll watch a video because I really like it. I just love sometimes I love hearing myself speak. So I just thought it was really, sometimes it's interesting topics and I like to listen to it again or just listen to myself. So sometimes there might be a little bit of traffic there, but in general, people are watching these videos, which is crazy. So again, this is where I paid for stuff. So that's why you have this weird thing. And it was just like, it was just total garbage where you promote your videos. And, I was probably spending $5 to $10 a day here, but then it goes off to anybody around the world. And a lot of those views are just total garbage. But you can see once I started taking it a little bit more seriously, there is a really good growth that's going on. And if I do averages, so this is a smoothing thing, right? So this is a moving average, right? You can see that it is growing, and it did decrease a little bit when I turned off advertising, but not a lot, right? Because that's the search traffic. The Google search traffic is actually that's what's picking up there. It's not that I was paying for things. I was just wasting money at that point, right? You gained a little bit, but not really. So I was just wasting money, and I should just rely on the Google search traffic until there's a video that's really taking off and doing really, really good. And you can probably promote that and boost that a little bit because that's getting traffic, right? That's getting what people want to see. You can see that there is this really wonderful growth. If I change this, I'm going to change this to get rid of this bump, right? That big bump that I was paying for, that waste of time. So this is starting, and this is where I was kind of doing things a little bit more seriously here, right? I think actually I was paying a little bit here as well, and then I turned it off. But you can see, right, the growth is, so this is March, April, beginning of March. You can see here that the growth of the watch time, so since then it has gone up 87%. That's in 4 months? I don't know, right? So yeah, 5 months. That's pretty amazing actually to grow that quick. It's going to take a long time, right? But if you're growing by 87% every 5 months, hey, you know what? It might take some time, but guess what? That's exponential growth. That's really stinking fast. Returns on the stock market, for example, you'd expect to get probably 8 to 10%, 8 to 12%, give or take. Maybe it's 13% if you're really lucky. Every single year, on average. So this is really fantastic to get this kind of growth, right? That means that things are working. And if I'm going to continue doing this, and I think I'm going to continue doing it at this moment, it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying putting out these things, and we're going to see what happens. But, I'm not expecting much at the same time, but, I'm high hopes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully more people continue to watch it. So that's all I wanted to say. If you like this video, make sure that you do the old thumbs up, and I could do, I can continue on doing these things, or I can do other things, right? So you can leave comments, all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.